Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending today's Play Attention webinar. My name is Gwen Sorley, and I will be your host today. I'm glad to see we have a wide variety of individuals here today from around the world, and I appreciate you taking out the time to learn a little bit more about iLab. If you do have any questions during the webinar, please type your questions in the Q&A box found at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. That way I'll be able to address your questions as we proceed through. Also, we are recording this event. So if at any time you do have, if we're recording the event, so at the end of the webinar, you will receive an email with the link to the recording so that you can share this video with other staff members or family members, or you can simply review parts of the webinar that you would like to review. Thank you again for attending today. We are going to be discussing iLab. We have had iLab available in the past, but this is a new improved version available for Play Attention 6.0. We're going to be discussing iLab tutoring and how you can incorporate the iLab system into your current Play Attention program or start a new iLab program in order to reach more clients. A couple of ideas for you when you're looking at iLab. You're going to be able to set iLab up in a lab and provide small group tutoring. Right now, if you are providing Play Attention professional systems, then typically you're doing those sessions one-on-one. The great thing about iLab is it will allow you to network your computers so that you'll be able to work with multiple clients during a given session. Not only that, but you will be able to offer your clients distance training. So if you have clients that live 1,500 miles away and they just can't come to you for a training, they will be able to log into your Play Attention iLab session and you'll be able to do live training with them via distance. So it is a great adjunct to your Play Attention program. This is what iLab can typically look like. So you'll see here that this right here is the coach. And you'll notice that the coach does need to have a computer because there are specific computer components that are going to appear on your dashboard. And these are certain features that you're going to be able to control during an iLab session. Now, usually we recommend that you have a student sitting right next to you, and that student would be one that you'd be typically doing the behavior shaping with. And then you would have your remaining students sitting at their own iLab stations, but they are all networked to you. Remember, this is all networked to your master station so that even though those students are sitting across the room, you're going to be able to still see streaming data on your computer dashboard, okay? Also, you'll notice that we have a student working at a distance. We have a student that is not in this physical lab at all, working at a distance. And again, that student can be receiving live training during your session, even though they're not physically in your lab. We're going to talk about and review. I will show you all of these different features which are in the iLab. You have real-time data, so you're going to have real-time streaming data. You have a lot of iLab intelligence that we're going to be talking about. You're going to be able to view their game data in real time. Again, you're going to be able to do distance training. You have full curriculum control, so you're going to be able to set up each student's curriculum before they come in for that session. Or, of course, as always, you can also provide just auto training so that you are allowing sheer genius technology to decide on the best activities for that individual based on their previous performance. So either you can custom set the session or you can allow sheer genius to make that decision for you. Then we have a lot of ways for you to communicate during an iLab session. You can do text chat, voice chat, or full video conferencing. Now, it is not necessary for you to do video conferencing if you have a small group setting. However, that is one of the features that you'll be able to utilize. Let's look at all of the different iLab features up close. When you log in, this is what your master control station will look like. This is your iLab dashboard. You see here that I have 4 students. Now, these 4 students have actually logged in to the Play Attention session. So as your students log into the Play Attention session, you're going to see their avatar pop up on the screen. And there are a lot of features just within that avatar alone that you're going to be able to control. Now you see here that I have hovered over this student, this particular student, on my dashboard. When I hover over that, a little video icon appears. If I click on that video icon, I'm actually going to be able to see live streaming video of that student working. So on my dashboard, I can be viewing 1 student live video, or I can be viewing 4 students live video. You'll be able to actually be watching your students. This is really essential when you're working at a distance, because when you're working at a distance, you want to still be able to see that individual as he or she is working. So you will be able to just click on that video icon, and it will automatically start their video on their computer, and you're going to be able to observe them while they're doing their Play Attention session. Even, like I said, even if they're thousands of miles away from you, you're still going to be able to see them as they work. Now, you can decide to do that with 1 student, or you can do that with multiple students. That is up to you on how you want to do that. When you click that video icon there, they cannot hear you or see you. That is only accessed when you're doing video conferencing, but this will allow you to simply watch them as they work. Right here, you see iLab events down the right-hand side of my screen. Now, I can opt to hide those by clicking the X right here. But what the iLab events are is they're real-time events that you should be aware of. Because if you have a lot of students working in the lab at one time, sometimes it's easy to miss certain events. So Sheer Genius is going to alert you when there are certain things that you need to be aware of right away. You're going to be able to see when new alerts are available for you, because this little circle here will change to orange, and it will tell you how many new events are on your event list. The events that will be documented for you are things such as John has completed attention stamina with 93% attention, or maybe Jenny completed visual tracking with 32% attention. So it's going to tell you when they're able to complete a session or an activity with a very high percentage or a very low percentage. Or if they haven't completed the activity yet, but for about 30 seconds, they've had a really high attention level or a really low attention level, you'll be alerted to that as well, so that you can address that student, either to redirect them and help them get more attentive, or praise them for doing a great job. It will also tell you if someone's idle. So let's say that my student here, Susie, let's say that she has been idle. She hasn't been actively in a game for over 3 minutes. It's going to tell me that, Susie's been idle for 3 minutes. That means I need to address Susie and make certain that she gets back on task. If I'm talking to her, of course, that's fine. But if she's just idle, it will alert me to that as well. So the iLab events are great because it's going to help you as coach manage a large number of clients at one time. This is just a closer look at what those events look like. So you see that it tells me Susie has started attention stamina. Jenny was flagged because she was idle for more than 3 minutes. So it gives you a lot of information that you need right away. And again, you can hide these events or have them showing during the session the entire time. Now, you noticed when I just said earlier that it said Jenny was flagged. And right here, where this arrow is, you see that John has been flagged. His flag actually turns red. And that means there's something I need to address with him. So that also gives me another visual cue as to when I need to address a particular student. So that Sheer Genius technology is constantly looking at your student data, giving you an event list and flagging students who need to be addressed. So when I see his little red flag come up, I can look at the event list, know why he's been flagged, and then you see over here, there's a tab that says flagged students. Now, I am currently in my viewer where I'm seeing all of my students. But if I just want to see the students who have been flagged, I can click that tab and it will show me all of my students who need to be addressed. And then once I've taken care of them, I can go ahead and unflag them. So just another great way to manage small groups of individuals. Also, right here, you'll see when we're looking at the dashboard, we get live streaming data that tells us which game they're working on, how long they've been working, and what their percentage of attention is. So you see here that Kim has been working on attention stamina, the bronze level. She's been playing, if you can see right here, for 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And she's 92% attentive. So it's a great way for me to quickly see who's doing which game, what game they're doing, and how well they're performing. Also, if they go below a certain level of attention, this line right here will go from green to red. So I have another visual alert as to whether or not I need to address that student. Here we see that John is playing time on task, bronze. He's been playing for 2 minutes and 9 seconds, and he's 92% attentive. So I would be able to see all of my students on this main screen here. This is your iLab viewer with all students. So very simply, I'm going to be able to see all of my students. I'm just showing you 2 students, but if I had 10 students in my lab, I'd be able to see all 10 students and receive their real-time game data. Let's say that I want to see the game data a little bit closer. I can click on the main screen right here, the little eye, and the eye will take me to that particular student's game data. So now I can see even more information. So this is real-time streaming data, and this graph will actually be moving as we're watching data to show me how attentive she is. You see that she's playing attention stamina bronze. She is currently 86% attentive, and she's been working on this activity for about 36 seconds so far. It also gives me additional game data down here, so I can see that she's already collected 1 bonus. So if you're in any of the other activities where there's more data being stored, such as distractors or impulsivity, correct strikes, incorrect strikes, all of that additional information would be shown to you down here. And again, it is all updated in real time, so you're never missing any information. Let's talk about real-time behavior shaping, because this is a question we get a lot. If I'm working with small groups, am I still going to be able to do behavior shaping? And you absolutely are going to be able to do behavior shaping. And this is how we'll do it. You would once again click that little eye, and it will bring you to the options of either looking at the game data or the behavior tracking. You'll be able to enable their behavior tracking right within the game. You can click enable, and now I can track John's behaviors. Now, remember in that first scene that I showed you where I had a student sitting right next to the coach, And I said, you might be working on behaviors here. So again, you would just be adding your behavior data right here as you're working with that individual. And you would just be putting in how many times they fidgeted or called out throughout the activity. You can use that wet erase board that you probably use right now with your professional system, or you can input it here as the game is being played. Now, what I really like about this option as well is that I could click on John's video icon right here. And instead of seeing his avatar picture, I would see live streaming video. So if John is, let's say, 2,000 miles away from me, I could click that video and I could see his self-distracting behaviors exhibited as he is playing his play attention game. So if he's working on time on task and I'm watching him in a video and suddenly I start to see him fidget like this, I could simply then click this plus sign and add one more fidgeting to his behavior shaping chart. So again, it's very simple to do behavior shaping in iLab, even if the student is not physically in your lab. And that's what I really like about that video icon, being able to toggle in between looking at their live streaming data and just their picture when necessary. You can edit their behavior data after the session, because I'm certain you're all thinking, well, I have 10 students in my lab, I might get drawn away from the student that I've been doing behavior shaping with for a moment, and I might miss my opportunity to input that behavior data. And that's okay. After the session, you're going to actually have the ability to go in and edit their behavior data. So let's say that you missed submitting the final information for attention stamina. That's okay. After the session, you'll be able to go in, click on attention stamina for that particular session, input the correct behavior data, click submit, and then it's all stored for you. So if you do miss something during iLab, you always have that opportunity to go back in and take care of it afterwards. Now let's talk about iLab communication, because there are a lot of different ways that you can communicate with your students while working in a lab. Of course, if you have a very small group, you may not want to incorporate microphones and headsets and your video, and that's fine. But if you're working with larger groups, and definitely if you're working at a distance, you will want to use all of these forms of communication. You see down here at the bottom, there's a little chat button. And when you click on the chat button, you have a few different options. You can simply chat with them, which is a text chat. You can do a live video conferencing, or you can just do auditory. So you can just call them like you're calling them on the telephone. Let's look at what these look like. Now, this is just your text chat option. So when you click on text chat, you can type in a message to your student and it will pop up on their screen. So you see right here, I just sent a text to John that says, "Good job, John." And then I can minimize that. So it's not going to interrupt your view of your students. You can simply minimize your text box once you have completed communication with him. And he'll hear a little tone and his text box will light up so he knows that you're sending him a message and it will pop up. Now your student also has the option to text you. So if they have a question or a comment, they can simply send you a text message as well. Okay, and then you're going to see their text just pop up on your screen and you can address it. If you don't want them to necessarily text you, but simply ask you or alert you when they have a question, they also have a little request help button. And if John were to just click that request help, you would get a message up on your screen that says, John has requested help, and then you can address him. So you have a way to modify their communication with you and use what works best for you. Now here is if I just want to do a phone call, okay, just audio to one of my students. You'll see that it comes up on your screen like this. It allows you to see who you're calling or who's calling you, and then you can answer. This call has been answered, so the mic has changed. Once we're done talking to each other, then we can go ahead and hang up the call right here. So you can simply have a conversation with that individual as well. If you call one of your students or your student is calling you, you'll see this little box in the right-hand corner of your screen that says John is calling. And then you can either answer or reject. Now, if you reject it, then that student will get a message that you're busy and they can try again later. And the same happens for you. If your student is in a game and you try to call them, it's going to tell you John is busy, and you're not going to be able to actually talk to that student until he's done with his game. You also have the ability to do full video conference. So this is just a clip of what the screen looks like, and I just took a quick shot of myself working with one of our staff members. But this is actually what a video conference call would look like. You see that I have my picture right here in the center of the screen, and then right here is the coach. So the coach will see himself or herself in the corner and see a large picture of the student. And the student will be able to see the coach as well. So you'll be able to do full video conferencing as well. Now, I know that you're probably thinking, I might not always want my students to have the ability to call me via video or call audio. And so you do have the option to block their communication. Because I can understand if you're sitting in a small lab and they don't need to call you, they can simply talk to you in your lab setting, then you can block that. We work with a lot of students who are very impulsive, so it's going to be very appealing to hit that call button. So you can block them if that is more appropriate. And you don't have to block everyone in the lab. You can just block certain individuals. So if you want to block just the individuals in your physical lab, but allow the others who are working at a distance to come in, you can do that. And you can always unblock them at any time as well. And the only thing that that's blocking is their ability to call you via audio or call you via video conferencing. They're still going to be able to request help, and they're still going to be able to text you if they need more information. Okay, so those are all of the features that are found within Play Attention iLab. I think you can probably see how easy it is to now manage groups of individuals who are working within your lab and also work with people at a distance. It opens so many more doors for you because no longer are you just confined to working on one-on-one sessions. You can open that up and you can actually have small groups and you can work at a distance so you're reaching more students in a given period of time. So let's look at your initial investment and also your return on your investment. If we look at your initial investment when you're looking at setting up your iLab, each iLab needs the following. You will need your iLab licensing key. Now, what the iLab licensing key is, it unlocks those features for you. So it unlocks all of the iLab features. It unlocks your coaching dashboard ability. It also unlocks your user license so that you have an unlimited user license, and it allows you to network all of your computers. Now, you can use a local network or you can do cloud-based network, and we'll help you with that. The process is actually quite easy. In addition to your iLab license key, you also need at least one professional system, and that is at the $24.95 price. So that is the current professional system. You need at least one professional system in your lab. And then, of course, you need one iLab station for each additional student computer. And those are $19.95 apiece. Now, if you look here below, you'll see that there are discounts for multiple iLab student stations. So there are discounts for bulk purchasing as well. Keep in mind when you're looking at the pricing, and I'm going to break down an example. This is simply an example for you. This is an example of an investment with an iLab for up to 4 clients in your lab, okay? Now, this would mean that you are going to set up your sessions so that each session you're working with up to 4 students at a time, okay? And again, you can work with 10, 12, 15 students at a time. This is simply an example of a lab that's set up for 4 students. If you're doing that setup, you would need 5 computers because you do need 1 computer for the coach and then 1 computer for each student within that lab. You will need 1 iLab license key for that lab, as we discussed. You'll need at least 1 professional student station, and then you will need 3 iLab stations. So these stations right here, those are all stations that will be used with students. So that is 4 students right there. 1 student will be working on the professional station, and then 3 other students at the iLab station. This means your total investment is $8,879. Now, I know looking at this list here, a lot of you are actually current clients. So many of you may already have at least 1 Play Attention professional station. If that is true, then you do not need this little section here. You do not need this professional student station. If you have multiple professional stations, we can convert one of those stations to an iLab station. You'll just need to tell us that that's what you'd like to do, and we can convert the software for you, okay? Now, if your initial investment for up to 4 students is $8,879, this is an example of your return on investment. Remember, what this is allowing you to do, instead of from 3 o'clock to 3:45 working with 1 student, you can set your session up 3 o'clock to 3:45 with 4 students. This changes your return on investment quite significantly. So remember, if you're working with 4 students per session, let's say that you're able to do about 5 separate sessions per day. That means you're going to see 20 students per day. And again, this is just an example for you. Your schedule might be a little bit different. So when you're doing your business planning, you'll need to adjust these numbers as needed. This is simply an example of someone's business planning. So they're going to see 4 students per session and allow for 5 separate sessions throughout the day. That means you're going to be able to see up to 20 students per day. If, on average, you're charging $50 per session, that means you would return $1,000 per day. If you are on that lower end of the average and you're only charging $35 per session, you would make $700 per day. Now, $50 is typically the average when we're looking at our professional or educational centers across the country. However, that does change. It does vary depending on where you're located and, of course, the type of center you have available. So some centers are more expensive, some centers are less expensive. So that will, again, need to be adjusted in your business planning. You're going to meet with each group of students at least twice per week. So you might run, I know a lot of our professional sites have students who work Mondays and Wednesdays, and then they have their other group working Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then they usually leave Fridays as a makeup day. So if someone had to miss Monday, they always have Friday available for makeup sessions. So you'll meet with each group of students at least twice per week. So at the end of the week, if you're doing that $50 per session, meeting with 4 students per session, you would make about $4,000 per week. If you're doing the lower end, let's say $35 per session per student, you would make about $2,800 per week. So again, that's a sample of your return on investment. So I do recommend that in your business planning, take the numbers and adjust them according to your center. Now, if you do need assistance in getting started, we're always here for you. So you've received a lot of information right now. And like I said, there are some people here in attendance who have not yet started their Play Attention Professional program. And there are some of you who have been clients like Dr. Susan. I can't even tell you how long you have been our client. You have been a client for 14 years, maybe. So you have some systems in place. So you may have professional systems in place and you want to incorporate them into a new lab, and we can help you with that planning. So if you would like some assistance in your business planning, just let us know. You can go ahead and type your phone number in the Q&A box in the left-hand corner of the screen, or at the end of this webinar, there is going to be a survey and you can type specific questions in there as well. And we can schedule a time where we can meet and actually have a conference call to talk about your different options and how you would set this up.